Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading, and you are tuned into our podcast, The Secret War on Cash, where we take an in-depth look at some of the fast-changing dynamics that are taking place globally as well as domestically in our financial markets and our economy. And as we normally do, we do this with my co-host, Chris Agelastos. Chris, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing very well. I wish I could say the same about the US dollar and the condition of things right now, but that is not looking too good, not gonna lie. So let's start talking about this here. We've got Trump back at it again. Can't blame him. Got to
Mhm.
do something. But you have let's see, a new 10% tariff warning. Trump targets BRICS anti-US ties. Okay. Very familiar story at this point. He's been doing this even before he took office. But there's some interesting things here, interesting to me, anyways, and I believe you'll think the same, Chris. So he makes a point of mentioning with this 10%, and this is like a penalty. I mean, this is something
Mhm.
he's sending a message, right? He says that it's any country that is aligning with BRICS, okay, because he's acknowledging the fact that BRICS is an anti-US de-dollarization effort. That's he's literally saying that's all they're set out to do.
Yeah.
And that's there's some truth to that. And here's the deal: some of those nations are a little more committed to that effort than others. But the other part of it that is a reality we've discussed numerous times on our podcast here, it's not just the de-dollarization side of it, but they, in addition to that, are looking to help bolster their own domestic currency. And you really can't fault them for that because that's, why you, I'm sure you want, you're personally, Chris, that you want everybody in your life to do well financially,
Right.
but certainly at the end of the day, you're looking out first and foremost for your family. Nothing, not doing anything detrimental to anyone else, but you have to be kind of
Right.
mindful or aware of what's going on with your household. Well, here's the thing. And so he says any country that is aligning with them. You remember when BRICS, not too long ago, just a few months back, they opened up basically the trade portal to even non BRICS nations. Do you remember
Yep.
that?
Yep.
And what's interesting to me about that is like, what is going to be Trump's definition of any country that is aligning with them? Is it any country that, because if even if you're a non-BRICS nation and you're participating with BRICS, is that an alignment? So, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think this is something that he's going to just have complete discretion on and who he says this to, or will there be conversations involved with it? And oh, by the way,
Uh,
Trump says there's no exception policy.
yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm not even 100% certain that President Trump knows what his guidelines are. I mean, I think he takes a lot of this in stride, which in a way is good because he can quickly adjust positions if need be. But I'm not sure that there is a guidebook that he's handing out to other nations to say these are the things I consider anti-American. But he is specifically pointing out BRICS, which means that BRICS is a threat. You know, he's brought them up many times over this last year, and I don't even know if President Biden ever brought up BRICS.
I never
Um,
heard it out of his mouth that I remember one time.
yeah, I don't remember any clips seeing him address it. They certainly, their administration, I think, their idea of dealing with it was just playing it down like it didn't really affect us. Not wanting to acknowledge it as a threat. So President Trump is obviously going the other direction with that. So by saying that he can, impose this 10% tariff, and again, this is just the percentage he's saying right now. He could adjust that, but I think he is sending a message to other nations. And like you point out, is it a coincidence that he's mentioning this after BRICS is sort of opening the doors to other nations? I don't think so. So, and this is all also falling at the same time as the 90-day tariff truce that we had in place is nearing the end of that 90 days. So, I would expect the markets to be a little volatile over the coming weeks and months here as we get more details and see, exactly how this is going to play out. But it's definitely a warning a warning shot that he's sending to let other nations know that we're paying attention, and we kind of want you to comply with our way of doing things, and if you don't, there could be penalties.
Right. Well, and understand, I mean, we're already the halfway point through this year, and Trump was dealing with this literally from the time he was elected into office. Before he even took oath, he's been
Hmm.
dealing with this. So it's been 6+ months now, and not only has BRICS has not missed a step, and they've only picked up momentum. And here's the thing, it just seems like everything that Trump is doing, and I believe he's doing what he thinks he has to do, and I don't know what else he could do than what he's doing. But
Hmm.
everything that he's doing, it just causes he pushes this way, and they push back even more so. And so that's
Yeah.
something that, well, let's get into this next article. In fact,
Hmm.
and this one, there's something I want to point out about it. India officially calls for a new financial world at the BRICS 2025 summit. And what I wanted to point out, when again Trump initially, right from the onset, when he had addressed BRICS right after he was voted into office, the India was one of those that they're one of the pillars of BRICS,
Hmm.
and they right away were saying, well, we're going to soften our position or our involvement with BRICS,
Hmm.
and that isn't happening. Especially now, again, a little over 6 months later, they're calling for a new financial world. And some of the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, I think it is, Narendra Modi, uh, they start talking about how the damage that has been done by the West, and how there's been a double standard of um, what the West is bringing, West beating us, obviously,
Yeah.
what we've done, and the standards we've set, et cetera. And going as far as to say, like, anything that we've done, the West, for these other nations, they've been, he calls them tokens. And so it really speaks to, like, the resolve, to me, if to me it speaks of the resolve these nations have in what their efforts are here with BRICS. And so
Yeah.
this is something that I think is going to really be interesting to watch, because again, like I mentioned, all these nations are taking a position. Trump is taking his position, and they're not backing down.
Yeah, and like you point out, 4, 5, 6 months ago, India, made it sound like there were absolutely no plans to, stray from the dollar, even though they're part of BRICS. This is just sort of a little side gig we're doing. And now and this was at the summit that they just held. They're on stage, talking about how they've sort of felt left behind, that they haven't had a voice at the table, and they're frustrated with basically just being told what to do and not being able to have input, and they're calling for change. And so that is a big change from just a few months back. And the words he used here, being neglected for decades, that
Right,
India feels
right,
neglected, and not just India, the other BRICS nations as well. I mean, they're talking mostly about the global South here, but these are very emotionally charged words, and the thing about that is, even if you have an argument with a friend or a spouse, if you inside your core feel mistreated, and feel like you've been treated unfairly, it's really hard to get past that. It may take a lot of time and a lot of positive gestures the other direction in order to sway somebody. And so I don't think this is going to end quickly. I do hope that we can repair a lot of these relationships. But if the way they are feeling is, in fact, neglected and at the end of the line, and not listened to, treated like their opinion doesn't matter, and that they're just forced to go along with our policies, can we really be surprised that they're looking elsewhere? And
right,
like you've said, you can't really fault them for wanting to improve their situation. I think what the U.S. needs to do is maybe re-examine some of our policies, and try to find a way to entice them to come back and drift more our direction. I don't know that just threatening is going to work, because that's what we've been doing the last 6 months, and it seems like we're getting further from our goal, not closer to it.
Well, and keep in mind, take you have central banks who are unloading US dollars like crazy right now.
Hmm.
And my point being is that this isn't just a BRICS issue. I mean, part of the reason BRICS is a large reason actually that they're doing as well as they are, they're having the success that they are, is because the dollar is in bad shape. So it's
Yeah.
like there's, poor Trump has nothing to really entice them to come back to, because kind of what started a lot of this is like concern that, hey, I don't know if the dollar is going to be around for much longer. And
Right.
that's a valid concern when you start looking at our debts, our deficits, and just the mess that we have created here. And so it's going to be interesting to see. And then the talk as well. We haven't talked about this, I think, much this year, but like changes in getting into digital currencies and things along those lines. I mean, the whole horizon is changing right before our very eyes. So
Yeah.
anyway, so if
Absolutely.
you want to learn more or know more, for those of you tuning in, about the secret war on cash, call into our office, or you can visit us online to get a free copy of it. I would strongly encourage you to do so. You can call us at 1-800-289-2646. You can also text us at that number, or visit us online at www.swissamerica.com, which is all one word, SWISSamerica.com. Thank you for that, Chris, and thanks for all the information. We will be looking to hear from you more in the future on this. And for those of you tuned in, thank you for doing so. And if you're not subscribed, please do that as well. And have a great rest of your week.